Hey guys, it's been a minute since I've made a video, so I wanted to take this Sunday afternoon to head to Kirtland and Chardon to check out the legend of the Kirtland Melonheads. Now, I'll give you like a rundown of the actual story once we're at our locations, but most of the locations are going to be around Wisner Road in Kirtland, and a couple cemeteries in Kirtland and Chardon in the woodlines around some of these cemeteries as well. So here we are actually just pulling into the first cemetery here where a lot of the sightings have been said to happen. Oh, this looks pretty small. Oh, this is really small. Oh, and it just goes in a little loop here. Huh, okay, I'm gonna park, take a look around, and then get into the story here. Yeah, so there only looks to be about like 250 stones here total, counting over here and then the spots over there. So very, very small, like I said. So there's a nice little stump here that I found, which is a perfect spot for me to start talking about the story of the Melonheads. Now, the Melonheads did not start in this cemetery. This is Chardon Center Cemetery off of Menor Road. The story of the Melonheads actually started on Wisner Road in Kirtland. That's where the story really begins. So the local lore involves two different stories, and both surround this character named Dr. Crow. One of the stories kind of views him in a lighter sense, and the other is more sinister. So the first one, which is the more believable of the two, is that Dr. Crow was commissioned by the federal government shortly after World War II to help treat children with a rare brain condition, hydrocephalus. That's basically where there's large pockets of water in the brain, and it actually causes an enlarging of the cranium. The legend says that he not only donated his time, but also his home for these children because he felt bad that they were looked down upon because of the size of their heads from the world, and he wanted to protect them from the cruelty of this world and bring in these outcasts. But unfortunately, as the story goes in many cases with rare diseases, a cure was never found, and Dr. Crow died of natural causes, in this story at least. And the children were left basically homeless without somebody to care for them. A lot of them stuck around the house as long as they could before it kind of turned to ruin with time. And some were sent kind of like into the woods, and they hang around the woods and the cemeteries in Chardon and Kirtland to this day. Now, the difference with this story compared to the next one I'm going to tell you is if you're a passerby and you see a melonhead, don't be afraid, because they are said to just stare blankly back at you and not do anything. So this other version of the story looks at Dr. Crow as more of a mad scientist. He kidnapped these kids, performed the experiments on them, and then they eventually developed that hydrocephalus in the enlarged heads. But eventually the kids got fed up, killed him, burned down the house, and retreated into the woods. Now those kids were said, the ones that survived, reproduced, and their kids had the hydrocephalus as well, and they're said to be very dangerous in this story. So if you see one, definitely run away, because they'll claw at you, chase you, kill you. They've been said in the area to be the cause of numerous kidnappings. Even like dead livestock has been blamed on the Melonheads. So very weird, two very different stories, but they both surround this Dr. Crow. There's actually even another version of the story where some say Dr. Crow had a loving wife that was actually really loved by the kids, like very, very loved by the kids. And And then I guess one night Dr. Crow had an argument with his wife, and she was either killed accidentally or purposely by Dr. Crow. I guess the story says, at least, that she hit her head on a cabinet and then instantly died. And then the kids were enraged and took it out on him, killed him, burned down the house, and the same as the rest of the story. But which one of these stories do you believe? Let me know down below. You know what, the more I've been walking around this Chardon Center Cemetery, this honestly would be a perfect spot for the Melonheads to hide, especially in the backwoods back there. If they're said to be in the woods, there is a ton of woods that just go all the way back over there. So for them to creep up into this cemetery every once in a while, or so they say, wouldn't be out of the ordinary in my opinion. I think there's like a little lake back there too. All right, so I wanted to take you guys to Blish Road Cemetery as well, because that was, after researching it, that's another cemetery where there's a lot of sightings. But unfortunately, from what I've seen, is it's on somebody's property, which is actually like right behind me, like a couple houses behind me. I parked on the side of the road really quick, but I'm not going to be able to get to it. People say it's really overgrown as well. It's like in the woods. So don't really want to get arrested for trespassing today. But now we are going to head to Wisner Road, the location of Dr. Crow's old house and where this all began. Okay, we're here on Wisner Road now, where it all began, and I am already kind of getting the creeps. I mean, I had to take a little detour to go to that Levi Smith grave from last week's video, and then the sun came down, and now I'm out here in the almost dark. Well, it's gonna be way dark back there once I go over there, but there's literally like a demolished house right here. I'm already getting the creeps, but Wisner Road, here we go. All right, so this right here is where the road just ends. I'm gonna walk up here. Man, this is creepy as all hell. Oh my God. Just being back here at night is like, it just amplifies the creepiness. Yeah, so this is the end right here. Bit of the river. Shit falling behind me. Doesn't creep me out at all. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, I'm not staying around here too long. I don't want to see no melonheads with their glowing eyes and claws and fangs and all that shit. Hell no. All right. Well, so now that I'm back home, I really wanted to discuss the talking points about how this story has survived since the 1970s when it first started. It's very, very rare you see stories like this last 55 plus years. And there are numerous reasons why I think the Kirtland Melonheads have stood the test of time and is still relevant today. So I have a list of reasons here that I wrote out, and probably the biggest reason is content creators like myself, other YouTubers, and paranormal investigators. You look up on YouTube or a paranormal investigation site, Kirtland Melonheads, and you'll get 20 different videos, 20 different articles of just people who have been trying to spread this story and spread word of mouth. Also, news channels. I know here in Cleveland, WKYC has done 3 different news stories on the Kirtland Melonheads in the last 3 years. All around this time. I mean, probably Halloween time, just because it adds to the, I don't know, the season. Also, paranormal investigators travel the country coming here to research, to spread the word, and that's hundreds of thousands of people seeing it. When you add up all the different videos, all the different articles, news stations, that's a lot of public spotlight, and that makes a difference. And I think that's probably the biggest reason it has lasted all the way since the 70s. Chardon High School students and enthusiasts have studied, local colleges have studied, and walked the same paths and cemeteries that I have, trying to find answers and trying to keep the story alive. Like, that stuff makes a difference. The second reason that I think that this story has lasted so long is it's unique. I feel like every state has a knockoff Bigfoot, a knockoff Loch Ness Monster, or all these knockoff cryptids like Mothman or whatever. This one is unique. I mean, I've only heard of Melonheads being in Ohio here. Well, I have heard Connecticut and Michigan slightly, but it's biggest here in Kirtland. And I think that really helps to diversify the story, and that's why it has lasted so long. Now, here's probably, okay, this third reason is probably another really big one, and this is the final reason I have, is that parts of this story that I've told you are actually somewhat believable for the time period. Human subject abuse was very, very prevalent in the 1970s. Revelations like the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, which became public in 1972, and the Holmesburg prison experiments forced a public and medical reckoning with a history of medical abuse. In 1973, widely covered congressional hearings revealed that some pharmaceutical companies were using prisoners for drug testing because they were, quote, cheaper than chimpanzees. Dr. Robert J. White, for instance, performed experimental head transplants on monkeys in the 70s. The opening of gender identity clinics also marked a transition towards public recruitment for research on gender-affirming surgery and a new and evolving era of medicine, all in the 70s. So it's not out of the ordinary if you were to think that Dr. Crow, or this fictional, non-fictional, whatever you want to call him, Dr. Crow was doing experiments on kids, whether it be for the good of them or for the bad of them. It's not out of the question that that could have happened. Now, the fact that people are saying they're like still out there and like ravenous and bloodthirsty and all that, that's more of the fictional side. But as far as stuff that could have possibly happened and why this story may still be going on for 100 more years is because that it kind of makes sense. I don't know. I think those are probably like the main reasons I think that this story has lasted so long, and why it will last generations. And it's only going to get more publicity, I think, with time. But thank you guys for watching. This is probably like the most research I've done for a video so far. So it would be really appreciated if you guys drop a like, drop a comment, just anything. But I appreciate it again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.